Well, guys, I grew up with both my parents loving music. Growing up listening to music grew a deep love for it in me. I listen to music whenever I'm able, and since I am in fact, unsurprisingly, a band kid, I somewhat have a deep understanding of music theory and rhythms that make it easy to pick apart melodies and harmonies and counter melodies. This makes listening to new music a deep experience. Music is a deep part of life. It's the language that connects us all. Anybody, anywhere can listen to music and feel the same way. There's so many different types of music, whether it's genre, artists, songs, lyrics, melodies, chord structures. Not any piece of music is exactly the same. It can all be interpreted differently. So let's dive into my interpretation of one of my favorite artists. We don't have time to do the full discography, so we're going to do the top 5 most popular songs on Spotify at the time of recording. Arthur Hill is a 25-year-old teen sensation. He's a singer, songwriter, and content creator based in London, England. He started making YouTube videos from the age of 13, making gaming videos. Over the years, he had switched over to TikTok, where he grew famous for messing around at the dinner table.
Don't you know I'm still standing, even though you're cooking shit? Chicken couldn't be dry. Learn how to fucking season it.
And why do we have to do this every single time you come back?
I guess I'm not the man you think I am at home.
What?
I'm a rocket man.
A few years ago, he started doing James Blunt impressions and even made a video with him.
This is my impression of James Blunt after making love. Did I disappoint you or let you down? I was feeling horny, but it's over now. Hey, you got a cigarette?
This got him discovered and he started making music. In 2022, he released his debut single, Tiny Room. Since then, he has released 13 singles and is set to release his debut EP entitled In the Middle of Somewhere on February 14th, 2025. Now, I enjoy all of his music, but let's look at his top 5 most popular songs. Released on May 16th, 2024, John Wayne is Arthur's 10th song, but his 5th most popular. It was written by Arthur Hill, Brendan Grieve, and Jay Moon, and produced by Brendan Grieve and Jay Moon. It references John Wayne, a popular American actor who is most known for his westerns. The song has a very western vibe, but still remains very poppy and dancey. Throughout the song, you can hear instruments that are typically thought as Wild West vibe. Let's look at my interpretation of the meaning behind the lyrics. The first phrase paints a picture of a city where not all is perfect. Some people are living the life and other peoples are struggling. One lyric that stands out to me is people laughing, people crying, it ain't lasting, but they're trying. And he pulls us back to the reality of Arthur singing, talking about who he is, more than not, intoxicated. He's just living his life. Throughout the song, we will see that he uses language of describing a horse as a metaphor for riding a line bike around London. Okay, to the chorus, his image of a cowboy riding through his town is seen through multiple parts. He compares himself to an outlaw contemplating life on what he sees when going home. He says that he's moving like a rolling stone, which just complements the fact that he's an outlaw, since the term rolling stone is a metaphor for having no roots, having independence or freedom or progressive without being held back. This analogy is a perfect way to describe the freedom of just going out, not needing to go anywhere, but just letting loose, having fun, not having any responsibilities. For Arthur, going on a line bike is a great way to capture that emotion. The second verse describes more of what either he or an outlaw would see going down the streets. The differences of class, people suffering and not being able to live. But the outlaw knows that if he stops, he will die. But he keeps pondering over his life and his action, and keeps feeling free, like a rolling stone. He invites the audience to sit back and enjoy the show. The show could be a metaphor for his life. This is a metaphor used by another singer, Niall Horan, in his newest album, The Show. The title track was about setting up a life and mulling over it like it was a piece of theater, a show. He could be using the show as a metaphor for this part of his life, or it could just be meaningless. But I guess we'll never know, unless he does an interview and reviews it. This song is more than definitely a hype song. The pop melody with the western elements paint a solid picture of the message he is trying to convey. The language that he employs to show his feeling of freedom expresses a clear picture of a Western outlaw riding on his own, feeling free, escaping from his problems, and thinking about life and people watching. He knows what he has to do, but still feels a freedom in his escapism. Whether escaping from an actual incarceration or just the stress of everyday life, he perfectly narrates the ever so common feeling we all share every once in a while. Arthur's 4th most popular single is also his 4th release single, and is entitled Iced Coffee. It was written by Arthur Hill, Benji Gibson, and Ollie Fox, and produced by Boo. It was released on October 5th, 2022. Like John Wayne, it has a very poppy, pop rock kind of vibe, but let's look at the lyrics. In the first verse, we can see he references beverage, typically drink in the morning. He uses pineapple juice as a metaphor for unholy things, which we will see a bit of throughout the song. In the first pre-chorus, we can see him setting a scene. He is more than likely in a pub or a club chatting with a female. Things may be getting a bit frisky, making him lose control by being around him. They perhaps are getting a bit touchy, which leads us to the chorus. During the chorus, he describes her touch and her presence making him feel so alive, similar to drinking iced coffee in the morning. When the caffeine takes you up a whole other level and makes you feel alive, he's high from her, just like being on a caffeine rush, and he's stumbling over himself, like someone who may have had a cup of coffee or two more than they should have. The second verse is a bit longer than the first, but the story continues as Arthur admits to the women that this is a one-time thing. It's not that he didn't enjoy it or will continue to enjoy it, it's just that he knows it's not good for him. She's like an addiction. He knows that she's not good for him, but he just can't resist. Another parallel to coffee, like a caffeine addiction. It's not good for you, but you need it to survive. We can see him not being able to resist in the pre-chorus. One of the lyrics that stick out to me in the pre-chorus is, "So let's play husband and wife before the sun starts to rise. Just keep your arms and legs inside the bed and enjoy the ride." He cannot seem to resist her. He just told her that it's a one-time thing, but he just goes for her again, like an addiction. Also, this is my favorite Arthur Hill lyric of all time. It just constantly gets stuck in my head and just tickles a part of my brain, because it just flows so nicely. Anyways, the chorus continues, showing even further addiction that he has for this mystery woman. In the bridge, we can see him absolutely breaking. He's belting so hard that he cannot keep his cool. He needs her. He craves her. She's just like a drug that he needs to survive. These two lines have so much power over the entire song. He finally gives in and lets himself enjoy the ride. We may never know what happened to this lady after this night, but I guess that he still thinks about her. The Kind of Love song is genuinely so catchy and memorable. It's one of those songs that you know the chorus word for word after the first time listening to it. The drops after the chorus that fade when the verses start involuntarily make you start dancing. These lines get stuck in your head, and the little snaps are mandatory whenever you listen to the song. The parallels between being addicted to iced coffee in the morning and a woman that you just met are so clear and easy to pull out. The creative rhetoric choices Arthur makes throughout the song to represent his feelings for this girl also describe how drinking an iced coffee in the morning can make anybody feel. The third most popular song is called Lily. This heartbreaking ballad is Arthur's 12th single and is written by Arthur Hill and Bailey Lindley and produced by Bailey Lindley. This song is set to appear in his upcoming EP, In the Middle of Somewhere. This song makes you feel very deeply in your body. Not just the lyrics, but the melodies and beats make you feel very alive and passionate, and you'll see why when we look at the lyrics. The first verse opens with the song with a sense of nervousness. The narrator feels like he needs to be on his best behavior. More than likely, he's around a new person that makes him feel a certain way. This instant infatuation makes him feel like he needs to start acting like a gentleman. Similar to how Romeo feels after seeing Juliet for the first time in Shakespeare's play Romeo and Juliet. In the pre-chorus, we can see the unease continue, with him stuttering over his words and feeling like he's too down bad to go back to how he felt before she came in. When the chorus continues, it's a whole new feeling. It's a desperate call for her. He's yelling for help because he's too far gone. He's screaming for answers of why she did this to him, even if he just looked at her. She made him feel so alive after just a look. He's wanting her to notice him, becoming desperate for her to look at him and come back to him. He's inviting her into his life with a need that can only be described as love at first sight. I don't believe in love at first sight, but if I did, it would be because of how this guy is written to feel about this girl. In the second verse, he describes about how all he can think about during his trip is her, even if all she did was look at him for a little bit. He gets carried away thinking about her, just being beautiful. He describes how jealous he's of her guy, and how he wants to get her alone, even if it weren't for him. The song finishes with the chorus repeating, continuously showing his yearn for her, and it builds and builds and builds and then just stops. He ends his song by singing, "Lily, do you know that I'm talking about you? Let me know when you do." With more desperation and craving than I've heard in my entire life. He's completely broken. All this build-up just to crack under this weight of him just looking at a girl he will never see again. This song makes you feel so deeply. It's truly heartbreaking hearing him go through all this pain of not getting her. He clearly feels so vulnerable at describing his emotions for this brief encounter that will change his life forever. The tone of his voice throughout the entire song, along with the fading in and out of intense melodies and harmonies, deliver the message entirely. The repeats throughout the song unveil the true way she takes up space in his mind. Just thinking about her gets him distracted. The wows and pretties repeated throughout the song make you realize how distracted he gets when he's thinking about her and this minuscule interaction they had. Arthur's most recent single, Late for the Reservation, is the second most popular song. Released on January 17th, 2025, it is going to appear on his upcoming EP. It was written by Danny Casio and Arthur Hill and produced by Danny Casio. This synthy, groovy tune just makes you want to dance. So let's dive in. Before the lyrics even start, we are given a small look into what the song's going to be about. We are introduced to the song with a voicemail from a host at a 5-star restaurant. The host asks if they are going to make the reservation because they can only hold the table for so much longer. I wonder why they're not going to make it to the reservation. After the first verse, I think we can start to see why they are late. The narrator of the song debates whether they should go to the restaurant at a 5-star restaurant or have a little experience with a 5-star person. The chorus portrays the situation and shows how he's giving in to his temptation. He would much rather finish what they started than be on time for the reservation. He gives up and gives in, making the waiter wait. He says it so casually too. He's just like, yeah, okay, they can wait. He doesn't care that much. He just wants her. That's all. You can hear how he starts super worried, but then as he says each word, he becomes more relaxed, showing through his tone that he's giving it. During the second verse, he's contemplating how bad it is. He knows he's in trouble. Like an iced coffee, he can't resist her. He doesn't know how to stop. She's an addiction. If I learned one thing from this man, it's that he falls hard for his women. I'd also like to point out my favorite line in the song. Oh no, it's happened again. We've had a dessert before our main. Girl, to the narrator, it just makes you feel a certain way, but not like that, you creep. As per usual, the chorus plays out before we are met with a new section of the song. The bridge unlocks the true feeling of craving he has for her. It's 4-line, but it completely exhibits how much he wants her. He doesn't want a fancy meal, he wants her. Like how I want iced coffee, he wants the taste of her. The song ends with, guess the waiter's gonna wait. I know I mentioned earlier, but he just says it like it's nothing. His reservation is at a 5-star restaurant. He probably booked that months in advance to be able to get a table for 2. And he's just throwing that away for her. At least he's got priorities. Gotta hand it to him. He really, really likes her. This song is so dancey. The synthy melodies and groovy beat make this feel like a true dancing tune. The lyricism shows pure addiction and infatuation with a beautiful person, which most can relate to. However, I may just be a big back. When I was scripting this, I was literally eating. But I would not pass up a 5-star dinner for a small moment with a beautiful person. There's always time for that after the food. Just let the tension build and finish it afterwards? But I don't know a whole lot about this kind of stuff, so I don't know how that actually feels. I guess if the person is right and the time is right. But seriously, this song has the perfect spots for just a tiny little groove that makes you feel so alive. The riffs add a strong extra feeling that makes the song even more addicting. Finally, we reach the most popular song, Hey Arthur! Was written by Arthur Hill, Benji Gibson, and Ollie Fox, and was produced by Boo. Being his 11th single, it was released on October 24th, 2024. It is more than likely going to appear on his new EP. This dancey, disco-y song is a bit dialogue-y, but is so addicting. The song opens with a couple of girls asking Arthur to tell them about his previous relationship. The first verse opens with Arthur describing how she came into his life and turned everything around. He became obsessed with her from the beginning, ignoring all the red flags, and let her walk all over him. He lent her his t-shirt, but she only wants to see him when it's convenient for her, which is a huge red flag. There's a difference between being too busy and not being able to see someone and then just not wanting to see them at all. From his wording, she just doesn't want to see him. She's more than likely hiding something for him. But in the pre-chorus, we can start seeing Arthur questioning his masculinity because of her. She's walked so far over him that he doesn't know how to deal with how he's feeling. He's just waiting for her to completely break him or even just leave him. He's so devoted to her that he can't walk away. He's so broken, but just can't leave her. We can see him explaining how he feels about her in the chorus. He loves her, but whenever he's having doubts, she just pulls him closer. She balances her toxicity with just a touch of affection, and that affection is what keeps him with her. He knows that he's being played, but he doesn't care. He just cares so deeply. He's hanging on to that tiny bit of endearment until she's done with him. She knows it's coming, but just lets it happen for that attention. He fully realizes in the second line just how wrapped around her finger he is. He opens about how he knows, but just lets it slide. Every time he starts having doubt, one single thing pulls him back in. He forgives and forgets because she's her. He believes that two wrongs might make a right because he loves her so deeply. He tells her that she can keep him where she wants him because she just has that charm. This is not a healthy relationship, and he knows that, but he just can't seem to walk away. The pre-chorus and chorus play again, and the song ends with him worryingly asking how much more he can take. I don't think it's a lot. The way he sings just shows how deeply wounded he is by this relationship. He needs to back out, but just can't. He repeats this like he's begging and pleading for answers. Hey Arthur is a beautiful little groove that has a sadder meaning that behind its upbeat melodies and deals with toxic relationships and not being able to leave. The manipulation that is described in this song is saddening. The desperation at the end just proves how broken he is because of her. I love this song because it's so easy to vibe out to, but it's easy to forget that he's singing about something that is so easily overlooked. He's so genuinely broken down but can't do anything about it because he's so passionate that she'll treat him right eventually. YouTuber musicians are typically looked down upon because, well, most of them are not very good. However, Arthur is one of the few who are changing that narrative. His music is deep and carries a lot of weight while mostly remaining upbeat. However, he does make it sound nice. His range is good, and his use of melodies and percussion throughout the piece complement each other very well. His word painting is on another level, and you can definitely tell that he has had some experience with music growing up, whether band, choir, theater, or whatever. Arthur knows who to work with and who is going to make his music his own. He definitely has that indie pop sound, which sometimes isn't great. However, he pulls it off so nicely. It doesn't sound homemade, but you can tell that he definitely isn't mainstream. I cannot describe how hard this video was to script. Having to pause the music every so often to take notes and analyze was so difficult. These songs just make you feel so deeply and just want to make you keep listening to it over and over and over again. But anyways, definitely go listen to the rest of Arthur music and watch his content. He's funny and the rest of his music is so good. Anyways, if you have any artists you want me to do this with, let me know in the comments. Have a great rest of your day. Bye!